This is how long it takes to give a Tesla 30 miles worth of battery charge compared to how long it takes to give a Civic 30 miles worth of gas. Ready? Engines and batteries set? Go! And I already know what some of you are going to say. But you save so much more money going electric. Well, in this video, I'm going to lay out the actual numbers, and I think a lot of you are going to be very surprised that, oh, and would you look at that? That's it for the Civic. As we wait for the charge, I want to give an honest review of my experience with the Tesla, because I'll tell you what, I don't know if it's because of Elon Musk or maybe because people equate EVs with climate change.
How dare you!
Maybe it's just because it's new and different, but holy smokes, man. The way people talk about these cars, you'd either think their name is on the patent or they have a vested interest in OPEC. So here's a completely non-biased, unemotional, level-headed take on Teslas. No me gusta. This wedding is horseshit. And when we're done charging, I want to show you guys a situation that this Tesla got me in that honestly, I was a little worried about my safety, and I don't know, I'm not totally in tune with Tesla talk, but I'm surprised how the danger I faced isn't something that's more talked about. Now let's be clear, it's not all doom and gloom. These are pretty awesome cars, but I really want to drive home the biggest downside of EVs by giving you this real-time supercharger experience. And remember, this is just for 30 miles or a single gallon's worth of charge. This charging stuff takes so long that the Tesla next to me is full of two girls putting their makeup on, and they were here before I got here. And again, we're 15 minutes in, and they're still dibbling, dabbing, whatever it is that women do, painting their face. This is absurd. So before we get to the good parts, let's talk about these so-called savings. This was my first time charging. I didn't realize that the car was set to charge to only 50%. But when I adjusted that setting so that I could get more juice, in total, I ended up charging 180 miles worth for a total of $12.82, and it took 39 minutes to do so. Now let's compare that to my Civic. Just to give Teslas a chance, I'll round down and say I get 30 miles a gallon with my Civic, even though it's more. So to get that same amount of distance, 180 miles, that would take 5 gallons. At $3.50 a gallon, it would cost me $17.50. Now, if you had your stopwatch out at the start of the video, you would know that it took 14 seconds to fill up 1 gallon. It was actually a little less, but again, I'm trying to throw these EVs a bone. So that means it would take 1 minute and 10 seconds to fill up 180 miles worth of gas. So in total, you are saving $4.68 with a Tesla, but you're spending 38 minutes more at the pump. Let me put it this way. If somebody offered you $4 to stand at a gas pump for half an hour, would you do it? And the kicker is, if you answered yes, you probably can't afford a Tesla. And would you look at that, 30 miles charging complete at the time of 3 minutes and 6 seconds compared to the less than 14 seconds it took for a gallon of gas that gets the same distance. And I know it says plus 53 miles on the screen, but I started the video when it was already at plus 23. So you can go ahead and delete that argumentative comment you had typed out and instead use your energy to say something positive. All right, now for the good parts. Charging aside, it's a pretty awesome car. The absolute coolest part about it, and it never gets old, this thing is a freaking rocket ship. All right, check this out. We're going to get to 60 and back down before the stop sign. You ready?
Yeah. No way. Damn!
64.
What? Damn, bro, that's insane.
Isn't that
Yeah.
right?
Reminds me of when you were a kid, you would wind back the car and fucking lay it, dude. It had that feel.
Yeah. Now, I'm not crazy into cars or anything like that. I just like to get from point A to point B, and I'm not picky about features. And with that said, even I gotta admit that the quality of this thing is notable. It feels like you're in a higher end car like a BMW or a Mercedes, which is pretty sweet considering the price is a lot closer to a Honda or a Toyota. The inside is super cool. This little thing right there is a charging pad, which is super convenient. You just drop your phone on there and it charges. And everything in the car is controlled with the touchscreen. I mean everything. Even the glove compartment doesn't have a handle. You need to open it electronically. Like anything, it took some getting used to, but it's one of those things that by the end of the week when I went back to my Civic, it was almost like I had to adjust back to that. For somebody who typically hates electronic things, where's my key card? Oh my, I'm not made for this life, man. I'm a simple man. I just need a key. I was pretty sure that I was going to get super annoyed with the whole touchscreen operation because it's too hot and I can't figure out the air conditioning on this thing. But I'll be honest, it's very intuitive, user-friendly, doesn't lag at all, and I ended up liking it a lot. Honestly, this always happens. When I talk about the cool parts of the Tesla, it makes me want to get one, especially every time I see them slash the prices even more. But then I remember the charging woes, not just the dangerous situation I'll share in a second, but take this, for example. On this particular day, I drove 20 minutes to the nearest charging station only to find that 4 of the 8 stalls were out of order. Just so you know, that stall wasn't working for me. No. Now you got to think, when all the pumps at the gas station are full, you just pull up behind a car and you wait for them to fill up. And sure, it's annoying, but it takes a couple of minutes, right? Maybe 7 minutes max if the person has to go into the store to pay with cash. But when there's a line for the supercharger, well, remember how it took me 40 minutes just to charge 70%? So you got to think, you got to wait for the person in front of you to finish their 40-minute charge. From the time I left my house to the time I got home, it was 2 hours total. And I was only getting 45% charged, less than half of a battery's worth. 2 freaking hours. And see, when I think about that, I'm back on the never ever buying a Tesla train. And I want to clarify, I love driving, I love road trips, I love going all over the place at a moment's notice, so even if I had a charger at home, I don't think this would be a good fit for me, at least not until there are as many chargers as there are gas stations. Which I have to add, that's another part of the propaganda. I mean, this government website says they are everywhere, and, well, I'll spare you the math on this one, but let me just tell you, they are not. However, if you have a charger at home and you typically only commute to and from work and maybe your work has a charging station there, then shoot, I could not recommend a Tesla more. This is an awesome car for a relatively cheap price. But again, you just have to be super mindful at all times of your charging so you don't find yourself in a situation like I did here. This whole event is worthy of a video in and of itself, but the short of it is, I found myself alone at a charging station at 4 in the morning when a car pulled up, and who can it be? It was a not-so-fresh Tesla, I think a Model 3. The driver rolled down his window, and he started to say, "It's all about making that GTA." I'm kidding. For real though, the driver did not say that explicitly, but there was like 7 or 8 people that got out of that car, and all of them looked like they were up to something, and I was not going to stick around to find out. On my way home, I kept thinking, like, what if some young girl or senior citizen was at a charging station like that, all alone? And I know you can say the same thing about gas stations, but the difference is, at a sketchy gas station, you might fill up for, 2 minutes outside of your car, ready for action? It's a lot different than being a sitting duck in a Tesla that's charging for up to an hour. Not to mention that almost every gas station has an attendant, which is a deterrent. Plus, if a gas station is way too sketchy for your liking, you can just go to the next one. You can't say the same with a supercharger. In this particular situation, the next closest supercharger was half an hour away. And the one last thing I'll say about Teslas is that it will be a mix of entertainment and frustration whenever people try to get in. If you want to see a funny compilation of my Uber riders having a hard time with these unique door handles, you can check out this video here. Thanks for watching.